welcome to Odiva TV. Thanks for joining us today at the Focus TV studios in Hollywood. And of course, with Odiva TV, I get to interview the most incredible women I've ever met. And one of them is sitting here with me. This is Dr. Erin, and she's actually a doctor of divinity.
I know, probably you've never heard of that. No one has ever. They're
No,
like,
but
what is that?
It sounds so amazing. What is it?
I teach universal law and spiritual truth, how we relate, how we co-create, how we're manifesting 24/7.
I mean, I'm just so into this. I love these topics. So let's just dive right in. How do you, I know that you have a lot of clients of all ages. And I also know that right now, one of the hot topics for women, especially younger women, is confidence.
Oh my gosh. It's incredible. I've noticed that even the top coaches around, they all have classes and courses on confidence. I'm thinking, are people Googling like how to get confidence?
And you just did a podcast earlier today.
I just pre-recorded a podcast for it. Yeah, so great topic for sure.
Yeah, so let's, I mean, what are the obstacles? Why now?
Yeah.
Why is it so much?
Well, you know, look at Instagram. How do you not go on there today and go, I want to be that filter, that production, that whatever, and that's just not realistic.
Right.
But I do know that I was actually bulimic from the time I was 17 to 20, and trust me, I understand the whole confidence thing. And so, you know, reality is this, from a spiritual perspective, if you look up the definition of confidence, it's basically wanting to rely on something or have a feeling of being basically all powerful, if you will, not in those exact words. But, and we look out to the world, we think, if I just had that, if I just had that right relationship, if I just had, you know, was the right size, if I just had enough money, then I would have confidence. And as we know, like all women, you know what, it never starts out there, it starts within. So confidence really is tapping into the true self, tapping into that, you know, spiritual aspect of ourselves, or even if you don't want to call it spirit, you could just call it just that knowing within that is unshakable, that is, no one can touch it, and it's almighty, it's all powerful, it's all knowing, it's innovative, it's everything you want, and then and a bag of chips.
So what happens when, I mean, just if you give me a couple of tips. I'm looking at Instagram, and I'm just using myself in this example, and then you see something or someone that you create this whole thing in your head that I'm less than, or why can't I be like that, or look at what they're doing. And when those thoughts come into your mind, what are some tips to help sort of, first of all, realize that you're even having those thoughts, and secondly, eradicate them and move on to something positive?
Well, you know, we have daily spiritual practices. So, of course, meditation, mindfulness, having your intuition, visioning, things like that, something to get you grounded. So in my
start
opinion,
your day off with
I think,
something.
yeah, I mean, to wake up and start scrolling through social media, forget it, it's a confidence killer.
Yes.
It's like I'm competing with this, you know, star that has 5 million followers, and forget about it. So
It also starts your day off wrong.
Yeah,
You're already thinking negative. You're already thinking like, oh, I'm less than. So don't pick up your phones in the morning.
I mean, basing yourself in truth. Something, I don't care, even if you haven't gotten into meditation, something that gets you grounded. Maybe it's just a note to yourself that you read every morning, like, remember, self-love is the most important thing today. If I don't have that, I don't have anything. Whatever that is, whatever the...
I used to write it on my mirror.
Yeah.
With a
right?
with a pen, one of the
right
dry erasers, and it always works. But so it's so important to like pull your mind off of that stuff, and somehow, so you're saying that meditation is a good way to do that because it creates some kind of a habit to keep your mind thinking.
Well, that's a deep conversation.
Okay.
I mean, meditation, if you really want to get clear on it, it's actually the merging of the higher self and the lower self together, so that you can actually come into your true power, your true we all want to be superwoman, right? We always want to be those Wonder Twin activates bracelets that we wear, right, as women. I think that just having a place where you can tap into that place that it only knows self-love, it only knows confidence. When you tap in there and you release your limiting beliefs of your identities of everything out here, then that's the person that walks in the room and you're like, I want what she has. And it's not like Harry Met Sally, and none of the younger people will know what that movie is.
That's okay. Maybe they do.
But you know, you walk in the room and they're like, that woman's gorgeous inside and out. She's not only gorgeous outside, but she's got some confidence that we all want, right?
Yeah, I still can't get over that confidence is such a thing nowadays. But so if if you're talking to someone who's never meditated before, like what are some tips to help somebody learn to meditate? Are there apps out there? Is it your website?
There's tons of apps. Yeah, I do have a free app that has 30 guided meditations, but anything is better than nothing. You know, even if it's turning on some good music, lighting the candle, and just turning off the social media, getting into a place where you can begin to just find a peace within, because it's really, if you don't have peace within, like how are you ever going to have confidence walking out into the world?
Yeah, that's true.
So I would say just making sure that you find that place every day at some point, whether it be taking a warm bath, whether it be getting into meditation, whether it be going into a center. Community is very important also. I think being around people that have, you know, that have their priorities straight, right? That aren't just going out there just taking advantage of everyone. It's not fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You are who your friends are too.
Absolutely.
So we have to be aware of that as well.
Glad I met you, because now you know.
Yes, exactly. So I know in my life too, when it comes to spirituality, and I consider myself a spiritual person more than a religious person. But sometimes I feel like I'm so overwhelmed. I don't know how to like tap back into my spirituality. I let it go and then my life starts spiraling. It's very interesting how there has to be something to all of this.
Well, the reality is this, is that all of life is designed for our awakening. So whether you want to have that be a breakdown, to have to go, I surrender, and yes, I got to do this work, or you do it and you have discipline and you go do your daily spiritual practice, regardless, it's going to happen, because we see it over and over again. We see the celebrity that has made it, or the rock star that's made it, and they crumble down in addiction or overdosing, or just Jim Carrey, right? Jim Carrey is like, look, I hope you guys all get your dreams, you make all your goals, you realize it's not there. You're never going to get fulfilled there. So yes, it's overwhelming, but the reality is that you're either going to be completely overwhelmed and surrender to it, or you're going to do your work, one or the other.
So when it comes to fulfillment, human fulfillment, what are some of the key ways to achieve that, and what does it mean? I guess it means something different for everyone.
Deep
I know. It's a deep question.
Deep in West Hollywood today. Watch out.
I know. I go there sometimes.
Oh, diva. No,
That's right.
Right. I mean, each person has their own purpose and calling, and I actually teach that. There's an actual kind of formula that I found over 22 years of being obsessed with this work. I was like, I have to find my purpose and calling, and I think so many people want that, and it really comes.
Many people don't know it yet.
And there's different ways, but most people comes down to these three things, and it comes down to really, what have you triumphed over? What has been your triumph? What have you had trials and tribulations and had victory over? And then your passions and your talents equals your passions. So I'll say it again. So your triumphs, your passions, and your talents equal your purpose. So I think that each person has a unique calling, and so that's the whole beauty that no one can tell you. There's no formula for your exact purpose and calling, and everyone wants the meaning of life, but you get to find that. Everyone gets to discover that, and they get their own calling and their own suffering.
True. So what is the one question that you say you get asked most by women?
What's my purpose and calling?
That one.
Number one thing.
And so what do you say? I mean, I know that you just said that those are that equals fulfillment as well, but how do you help somebody find their?
And most people don't know. They haven't had the victory yet, so they're like, I don't know what it is, and I don't know what my passions are exactly, right? And
right.
I mean, obviously, I work with top CEOs, to top celebrities, to single moms, to all different kids. I've worked with kids, right? I think that it all comes down to subconscious work. So we think that we know what we want. We think, we've looked at the magazines, we've looked at the culture, we've looked at the television, we've looked at all these things, and we're trying to find, maybe that's for me, maybe that's for me. And it's like, no, when you strip away, you start getting into your soul, at a soul level, at a subconscious level, you get to that authentic swing, your own authentic swing. Stop looking to the world. Stop looking to those, whatever it may be. Beautiful magazines. Oh, we like Focus magazine, of course, but
yes, of course.
The good magazines we want to watch. But beginning to just no longer look to the outside world, and beginning to just find your own authentic, like, weren't you like that?
No, I mean, yes, I definitely, but I've always been sort of on a spiritual path. I'm always challenging myself. I need to be in nature for hours at a time. Like, I'm always I love to meditate. I can't say I do it all the time. Yoga is my favorite type of fitness. So yeah, I always try and find those moments to sort of tap into myself. But I think, do you think that like somebody could say to you, well, I don't know how to do that. I mean, I don't know how to find my true self, or I don't know. I mean, is it as easy as just walking out in nature, or just doing what sort of calls you, listening to the radio, listening to music that makes you happy? I mean,
That's relative, right? How hard or how easy it is. But for me personally, my experience was the hardest work I've ever done in my life. I call it spiritual warfare. Like, to shift your identity, to let go of all your beliefs, to dig deep, to practice meditation. It's like, the whole world's going to be, that wants your energy. Everyone wants to, everything, the entire world is going to be trying to get you away from that. And so I think it's the hardest work you'll ever do. So no, I don't think it's easy at all.
And did you have a mentor? Did you have a book that you read that started this whole journey with you? How did this all begin?
I had a stillborn when I was 22. And I was, and so after I'd given birth to his body, one day I went back to the mortician's house the next day, and I was down thinking that I could, because at that point in time they have you take pictures of your dead baby, they bathe your dead baby, do all these things to try and grieve, and then you go home without your baby. And so the next day I went back thinking I didn't get enough pictures, and I went to in this mortician's house, and they put me in this room, this dark, cold, room in the basement with my baby on this bed and his body.
That's
and
awful.
It was awful, but it was actually the hardest and the biggest blessing of my life, because I realized we're not these bodies. And I realized, and I was so determined to figure out what our true nature is here. And I know that there's many women, we have a lot of people are depressed. They're sad. They don't know what to do. They want to, the economies are shifting. People are in fear. There's politics. There's all kinds of things. And the women need to stick together. It's time for us to rise. That's what we're doing right now in history. It's the rising of the divine feminine. And women know, we intuitively know that there's something more here. There's something more going on. I haven't met a woman that's not spiritual, quite frankly.
I know.
Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it? Well, I love what you just said. I am so happy that you're able to join us here at the Focus TV studios in Hollywood. But you are absolutely incredible. I want to talk about your book, too. So check out Erin's book. It's called Awakening. And if you can, just give me a quick, what's your book about?
Sure. It's a 40-day guide to unleashing your spiritual powers, your life purpose, and manifesting your dreams. So basically it's a fun adventure for 40 days. I basically just wanted to it was just all the distinctions that I kind of had found through delayering my own subconscious and everything, and just distinctions and fun little tools to use in the 4 areas of your life. So I go through everything from your money and career, to love and relationships, to your health, to creative expression, all through there. So.
And I love how it's day 1, day 2, day 3. So you have a little chapter that you read every day, and you sort of bring that into your life every day.
Yeah, and there's a little digital course that comes with it online as well. So it's fun.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I've had incredible women across the world reaching out.
I'm sure. And then if somebody wants to have a session with you, or talk to you, or if they have a problem that they want to discuss with you, where can they reach you?
Sure, they can just go to drerin.tv, and then of course my email or any of my social media, it's Dr. Erin across the board on all that. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. So happy to have you here on
Such a
Diva
pleasure.
TV.
Yes, and I'm so excited, you guys. It's amazing what you're doing for the nonprofits and Focus TV, and just a beautiful, beautiful place here. So honored. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy to have you here.
Yeah.